Welcome to the CEO Shift with your host, Shondell Spader, owner and CEO of Spader Group. In this series, you'll hear fast, focused conversations with business leaders and experts who've made the real shifts needed to scale past the plateau. Each episode delivers CEO-level insight in 15 minutes or less, because real growth doesn't need more noise, just better decisions.
Welcome to the CEO Shift. I am extremely excited to be here with Hannah Roth today from Predictive ROI. Hannah, I was so grateful when you said yes, because I have learned so much from you over the past few years of working together. And I'm just excited because I love to share what you guys are doing and what you guys, what you guys have done for us as an organization as well. So without further ado, I will go ahead and do the official intro here. But this is Hannah Roth, and she is with Predictive ROI, and she is their director of strategy. Her background as a scientist, coupled with her experience as a business owner, has allowed her to offer a unique perspective, synthesizing data analysis with strategic insights. Hannah often works in the trenches, helping clients overcome challenges and find new opportunities for growth. She loves helping people and being on the front lines alongside agency owners where she thrives. Firsthand experience, I would say you definitely thrive in that space. Hannah, welcome, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much, Shondell. I feel like I need to just have you around with me at all times to do an intro like that everywhere. You need to be like my hype person, my intro person at all times.
Well, you'll have this on recording now, and you'll be able to share it anytime you want. We can have the team snip it down just to that if you'd like.
Great. I'll just play it
Awesome.
before every meeting.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. I expect to hear it next time when we get on a call.
You'll say, wait a minute, I've heard this before.
Right. Well, okay, so let's go ahead and dive right in because I'm excited to share. So obviously we want to talk about your zone of genius, right? Your area of expertise, and really where we want to focus for this conversation. When we were talking about this, selling is what came up. So I would love for you to share your version of, like, what do you feel your zone of genius is in this area?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because if you would have asked me this question, 8 to 10 years ago, and you would have told me that future Hannah would say that her zone of genius is in sales, she would have thought that I got abducted and like something happened to me in the future, because I never thought that I would want to do anything related to sales, because I had always had really honestly terrible experiences being on the consumer or the buying end of the sales process. And so it wasn't until I started working with Predictive that I learned a better approach to sales and a more effective approach to sales that actually doesn't feel like selling at all. It feels like educating. It feels like helping. It feels like showing up with solutions at the right time and in the right way. And so I have really learned to lean into that, learned about our strategies, experimented with, behavioral psychology, learning about how people think, how people act, how people want to be approached, especially during high stakes situations like in sales conversations. So I would say that today, that is my zone of genius, is helping walk people through a sales process that doesn't feel gross.
Yeah, I think you guys, what I love about this is I've been through the sales process with you guys, right? Like, you guys have obviously sold to me, and not once, not once did I feel like I was being sold to. And I think the words you guys use often is swarmy.
Me.
It has never felt like that, right? So when I realized that I was being sold to, I think because you guys had to take the brick and hit me with it and be like, we just sold to you. This is what we're talking about. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're right. You took my money because I gave it to you willingly because I wanted to be here. Um, I think it was really an eye opener. Like, I've never wanted to be on the swarmy side either. So it was an eye opener to not only hear what you guys do and see you guys share this, but then to truly go through that process and really, like, it was the coolest sales experience or purchase experience I've ever been in, I think.
Well,
So
and that's awesome, because we want people to feel that way. And whether we're the buyer or the seller, we want it to be a good experience for both
yeah.
parties involved. And I think that a lot of agency owners, a lot of business owners sometimes avoid selling because they have the preconceived notion in their head that selling is difficult, or selling feels like a lot of work, or selling feels contradictory to who I am and how I want to show up as a person. But just like you said, it didn't feel like a sales process at all, because we knew that you were a right fit for us. We knew that you had problems and challenges that we could help you solve. And we knew that going through the
Heavy on the problems.
with us, yeah, you've got all the problems. You knew that going through the process, or we knew that you going through the process with us would help you in business on the other end of it. And so when it feels like that, you show up and you're excited to help, and you're excited to jump in with the person that's on the other end, the consumer, or the purchaser. And that doesn't feel like selling. It feels like rolling up your sleeves and helping. So
Yeah, like, and the way that you guys really dive in, um, it's like you're part of the team, right? So and that's been really neat. I I have my ideas of what you guys have really helped us push through, but in your words, like, if somebody said, like, what's the number one thing you want to shift? What is the biggest passion you guys have? Or, like, what is that for you?
yeah, so I love taking agency owners and shifting their mindset from sales is scary. So there's well, let me back up here. There's a little bit two phases of business here. There are younger businesses, younger agencies, where the owner is typically in the biz dev seat. They may not feel super confident in sales. They may be kind of scared of sales, or they may be super busy, so they fill their time with everything, so they actually don't have to do the thing that they don't want to do in the first place.
Right.
So I love shifting that mindset from, oh, this is something I really hate, to, wow, this is something that's really awesome, and I really actually love this, and I want to sit more in the seat. And Shondell, you talk about this all the time, is delegating so you can
Mm,
sit in that CEO or that founder seat, so that you're doing the job, the biz dev job that you are meant to do
right.
as that position. So that's kind of phase one, the younger businesses. And then there's the more mature businesses, or the more mature agencies, where maybe somebody's really confident in sales, or maybe they enjoy sales, but it's grown past their capacity. And so they're so adept at sales, they've never really created a system or a process around it. And so they don't know how to scale selling beyond them. And
Yeah.
so taking the sales process, shifting that mindset to, you can actually create stages of the sales process that can be delegated. So you can be the closer, instead of, the person prospecting, and then the person reaching out, and then the person, trying to cultivate the relationship, and then the person sending the proposal. Like, there's so many different phases of the sales process that don't have to be on the CEO's shoulders.
Right.
But sometimes they just get so comfortable being in that role for so long that they're like, I don't know who else can do this. So I've hit my capacity, but now I don't know how to scale my sales process. So those are kind of the two mindset shifts: is getting comfortable with sales and liking it, or getting sales beyond yourself.
Well, right. Okay. So I think you nailed a lot of things there, because part of that sales process too, and I've been, I mean, obviously we work together. I'm going to be transparent here. Um, I've been stuck in that space of, well, I clicked this button, or I sent this email, or I did this task, this, you know, minor piece of it, but I didn't get on a call today and actually have the conversation. I didn't get to brainstorm. I didn't sit down and really kind of work through, what is that vision for that prospect? How do I help them? Right. But I pushed buttons. So I
Yeah.
felt busy and I did sales work. So I've checked the box, but it's just not the same. So I think that, I think your approach to diving into that mindset of what really should I be focused on as the seller, or as that, CEO or seller, like either one, diving into that space is crucial to really honing in on, if I'm spending my time here, what am I doing, and what am I really doing to move that needle forward in what only I can truly touch.
Yeah. And Shondell, I'm going to flip the mic around, or the camera around,
Oh no.
because this is something that you have helped me with. Because I agree, right? If we're pushing buttons and we're kind of checking the box and just being like, oh, okay, I sent the email, or I added people to my email list, or I connected with someone on LinkedIn, like, yay, I did my biz dev activity for the day, gold star.
Right.
That's not really a biz dev strategy. That's biz dev busyness. And biz
Yeah.
doesn't always lead to good biz dev outcomes. But the reason that that happens, I think, especially again in maybe younger agencies or agencies that haven't operationalized all the way, is because they're so focused on so many things. They're wearing so many hats. And so one of the things that you helped me do is, I don't even think this was intentional, but one time you shared your screen and I saw your calendar. And you had like this beautiful, like color coded, time blocked, like organized calendar. And then I like had to share my screen and I was like, oh my God, I hope she never sees my calendar. And I was so embarrassed about the way that my time looked
No.
compared to the way that your time looked. And so I actually, after seeing that, I took time that week and I was like, okay, I have got to figure this out because I knew that I was reaching that capacity limit where, and part of my role at Predictive is biz dev. And so I was reaching that capacity limit where I was doing exactly what you're saying, pushing the buttons, prospecting a little bit, like, random acts of marketing, random acts of biz dev,
Yeah. I like random acts. Yeah.
random acts. So I had to time block and really pay attention to that. And you helped me do that. And we talked about that a couple times during our sessions. And I'm grateful for that because I still have now my beautiful color coded calendar. So sometimes if I'm like sharing a screen with a client, I'm like, I'll just leave it up and be like, look how great my calendar is. It's gone from
I
being,
love it.
yeah, gone from being a point of embarrassment to like a point of like bragging a little bit.
Nice. Well, if it didn't have confidential information on it, I would be like, oh, you should
Yeah,
show it here.
right. Right. Yeah,
Oh,
that's a big
well,
deal is focusing your time and attention where it needs to be focused and making sure that you're doing that with intentionality, and not just thinking about it, but actually doing the little things that get you to that point, like time blocking, managing your calendar, figuring out who can actually take this off my plate. What am I doing that I don't need to be doing that can be handed off so I can focus on, like you said, the things that only you can do.
what do you think? This is a little bit ad hoc, so I apologize, but what do you feel or think is like the thing? And I'm sure it's different for many, but like, what is the thing that shifts somebody from, oh my gosh, I have to sell. I'd rather dig a hole to, oh my gosh, I get to sell today. Like, I love this.
Yeah, so I think that so I'm going to speak for me and many people I talk to, and I don't want to make like an overgeneralization because I'm sure this motivation is different for everybody. But I think the majority of people truly genuinely have like a good and caring heart, and especially in the agency space we want to help and we love our clients and we want to do our best work, and we love to see them go from point A where they're having this challenge to point B where they text us and say, oh my gosh, like I just closed this deal, or I just had this amazing campaign, or whatever it may be. And so I think that when you can shift from, oh my gosh, I have to go like push my products and services on somebody and maybe they want to buy it or maybe they don't, to, oh my gosh, I get to go help all these people because I know what they're facing and I know how to solve it. It becomes helpful and problem solving. And that feels really good, right? Like
Yeah.
that is such a much different motivation than, oh, I got to go out and talk about me and hope that people like me or like my products. It's like,
Right.
oh, I get to meet them where they're at and bond over their problems, not my solutions. So,
Yeah.
and
I
actually,
think one of my,
I need to quote Robin Bowler because at the Build a Better
mm,
Agency Summit, she said that on stage. She said, your prospects bond with you over their problems, not your solutions. And that has always stuck with me because it's absolutely right.
yep. Yep. I heard her say that and that I was like, ooh, nailed it.
Yes.
Yes. That was an eye opener, right? Because I think it is thought of as they got excited over the solutions, but it started with, I have all these problems and we happen to be able to pick it up and help them visualize the other side, what looks better. That's the part to me where I fell in love with, I mean, I guess I'm going to call it sales because that's what it is, right? But
yes, I've made you a believer.
yeah, yes,
You're a convert
yes,
now. No, but think about it.
yes,
You use the digging a hole analogy. So I'll kind of, imagine this. So imagine you see somebody digging a hole with their hands and you have a shovel. You don't go over there and like talk to them about like, oh my gosh, the shovel is red. It's like made of steel. Like, look how shiny the shovel is. Like, that's stupid, right? But that's what we do with our products and services all the time. Instead,
yeah,
you would go over there to them and say, hey, I see that you're digging this hole with your hands. Your hands are probably hurting. That's backbreaking work. You're not getting very far. Let me dig in and help you. Like, let me do this
yeah,
with you so much faster, so much better. Let me show you how this solution saves your hands and your back and your time and, whatever. That is the difference between hawking a product and trying to get them to like buy something they don't need
yes,
and digging in to be helpful. No pun intended.
yes, yeah, right, exactly. Maybe that's why we used that one today. Well, okay, we could clearly have this conversation for hours. But one of the things that I guess I really want to make sure that we get to is, what is a way that people can learn more from you, understand more about like how you work, how you dive in, and how you support agencies?
Yeah, so anyone can find me on LinkedIn. It's Hannah, HANNAH, two of everything, darling. um, Hannah Roth, ROTH. I'm on LinkedIn, or you can go to our website, predictiveroi.com. Obviously, we're on there. Or you can just send me an email, hannah.roth@predictiveroi.com. So I always
Excellent.
answer.
Excellent, excellent. And then did you have something to share with our viewers and listeners today as well?
I do. Yes. So as we're talking about sales, I mean, Shondell, you know this from working with us. We love a framework.
I do.
Yes. So we've got frameworks and tools for everything. And so we created the how framework, which is, how you sell. And so if you go to predictiveroi.com/how, and I think Shondell will include this in the show notes or whatever. If you go to that, you can watch a brief video that gives you some sales tips and then download a framework that walks you through the sales process. So,
And that is the How framework is one of my favorites of yours. I have many, but that is definitely one of my favorites, and it has been a game changer for us. So, highly recommend it. Hannah, thank you. I so appreciate you being on today and joining us. And I look forward to continuing to watch you rock business and be surrounded around one another, just to, I don't know, share the smarts and move business forward. I was just having a conversation earlier this morning about like what I love about business, and I really just love business. And that's, I think
well, and you've
that,
been a business owner since you were what, like 3 years old? You've always
I
been
mean,
in business.
3.5.
Yeah. Okay. 3.5.
Get it right. No.
Yeah, that's a story for another time. But Shondell's been in
Yeah.
business for a very long time, so you can trust her.
Well, I'm only 21, so
Oh, you're right. You're right. Silly me.
right. All right. Well, thank you again. I'm so grateful you were here, and I will talk with you soon.
Yay, thanks, Shondell. See ya.
Yep. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the CEO Shift. Ready to take your next step as a strategic CEO? Download our free 4-step CEO decision guide, the exact framework business leaders use to stop spinning their wheels and start scaling with clarity. Grab your copy at spadergroup.com/CEO-guide and start making decisions like a CEO today.